order that you can understand me, I'll take off my mask. I'm Reverend Tim. This is our December service, December 6th service, celebrating the Divine Feminine. I'm glad that everyone is here that's here. Hopefully your problems with the internet have been less than mine. Today we're talking about the Divine Feminine. Why is that? Well, because in 1 week we have the Day of the Virgin of Guadalupe, which is probably one of the main, if not the main, religious holiday in Mexico. And it certainly is the most Mexican of all holidays, although it now is celebrated in many countries throughout Latin America and actually throughout the world. The Divine Feminine, why at this time? Well, one reason is that Advent is upon us. And for those recovering Christians or active Christians, this is a special time when the Virgin Mary was aware of the coming of the birth. And so it was a premonition, a time of knowing that the Christ child was going to be born, that the divine was going to be made human. And as that happened, that is sort of symbolic of what the Divine Feminine is about. It is that seed within us of the divine that has given birth at this time. Why birth at this time? Well, some of you know and may recall that our theme for last year was about going from surviving to thriving. And it was really a wartime kind of thing. It reminds me of World War II. Before the war was totally over, there was a conference in Tehran with Roosevelt, Stalin, and Winston Churchill. And they, at that time, in 1943, saw and knew that they were going to win. And they went from surviving and trying to thrive to being reborn. They knew at that time that they were going to win and that the world that they were moving to was a wholly different world. It really was a state of ashes from which a phoenix could arise. They clearly didn't know all that was going to happen. They couldn't imagine, because in coming from in a rebirth, it's not just a transition where you feel, well, we finished this project, now we're moving on to the next. The post-World War II world was totally different. We are moving in such a world. We are now at the point where we can say victory is ours, and many more are going to die before we get there. But in that victory, in order to really be victorious, we really need to be reborn. And it's going to be different from what we can imagine. We don't know what it is, but we have to do what we can do to be that essence that is showing up. So that's our plot today. Rising from the ashes of COVID-19, being rebirthed and celebrating the feminine. I'm going to invite Daisy Beth to give the invocation, and it will be followed by a song and then by a meditation by Reverend Maureen.
Divine Spirit, all that is, one, whole, coherent and orderly, flowing in, around, and through everything in this universe. Both the expansive energies that create and the glue that holds it all together, keeping order. Spirit as oneness, Spirit as wholeness, Spirit as multiplicity, both the feminine and the masculine. Today we open into this energy. We revel in its diversity and its wholeness. We open completely into who we are, that manifold and unending essence. And we celebrate this day. And so it is.
It is. Now is the time in our celebration when we pause to turn within and make real that oneness with the divine, I invite you to take a breath. And as you exhale, simply get comfortable in your body, in your feelings, and in your mind. And simply breathe once again. And exhaling, we let go of the outer world for just a moment, knowing that we are in a safe place and that all is well. And with one more deep, cleansing breath, we exhale this oneness, this life, this light that is ours and is for everyone. Recognizing the characteristics of the divine feminine, we unify with that beauty that is divine, with strength, strength of clear knowing and manifestation, the giving birth to ideas, to our divine purpose here on earth. We just gently let that unfold and flow. And in this beautiful time of rebirthing, we recognize the Christ in each of us, being reborn. That Christ vibration in everyone, everywhere, all the time. So move deeper and higher within and unify with that Christ vibration. And know that all is well, right here and right now. So I invite you to come back into this time and place, wherever you are, with a breath of energy. Breathe in energy, knowing there is just one energy. And take a breath of love. And exhale that love so that wherever you are, there is always love. And another breath of wholeness and health. And exhale. And when you're ready, open your eyes and be here now. And now I invite Arch Crane. Come up.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. From the Science of Mind, page 360. Asleep in the heart of cosmic love, unborn, universal potential, the Christ child lay. And the great mother soul, brooding over her unborn child, conceived it in the stillness of her universal nature, imparting to it her own being. Born unto time and experience, unnoticed, unseen, yet alive and aware, the Christ child incarnated into human form, taking the likeness of men and women, yet giving no sign of its presence, waiting for the utmost patience and love, the revelation that should disclose itself and proclaim the reign of peace. Many ages passed, and vanished, and in the long yesterdays of time, and still the Christ child waited. Nations appeared and disappeared. Toil, famine, pestilence and want, hunger, cold, heat and thirst, war, hatred, blood and ruin, and still the seed of perfection unrevealed. But the universal wholeness cannot forever be subjected, nor cosmic love be kept from human form. That which was given must be revealed, and the seed of perfection must burst the shoots of heavenly planting, must break the cords that bind, fanning the human into the blazing divine. And so the long-appointed day arrived. A voice from out of the stillness spoke, "This is my beloved Son. Let the earth be still in his presence. Let the beasts of field, the birds of air, and all living creatures be still. Let the hosts of heaven sing praises, and let deep cry unto deep." Then spoke the child, "I am come to bring peace. I am the child of joy, and to all who will, I give life. I am formed of happiness. I am come from the eternal stillness. Quietness and confidence are mine. In the heart of the Father I have lived forever. O nations and all people, look unto me and be saved. Behold my face shining as the sun, and my feet shod with righteousness. In my left hand are riches and honor, and in my right peace forevermore. All that I am, all that I have, I give."
Thank you, Arch. As we speak, we're receiving coaching from some people in the audience. So there is definite participation by all. The next person on the agenda is someone who is very special in many ways. She's a person who is responsible directly and sometimes indirectly for many of us being here. And that is Rebecca Pena, Reverend Rebecca Pena. She was one of the first ministers of Science of Mind in Mexico, I think the second basically, and started Science of Mind in Mexico City. After a period there of studying, having classes, introducing a lot of people to Science of Mind and having practitioners there, she then moved on to cyberspace, basically 10 years before the current great increase in need for this particular item. She saw it way ahead of most of us. And she started there both teaching basic Science of Mind, but then practitioners. And most recently, she's teaching people to be spiritual leaders, to be beginners of new sites, and to explore new ways of bringing Science of Mind not only to Latin America, but to the world. She had a particularly important part in my life because I met her first at a conference where Don Miguel Ruiz was speaking, and where it was put on by the people in Tijuana, the new practitioners and the new site there. And she encouraged me to then become involved here and became my mentor in setting up this center. She came here several times to give courses and help out, and now she's moved here. So she detected that we could use all the help we could get, so she's here to do that. She is possibly the most qualified person in this area, and maybe in Mexico, to talk about the next topic, which is that of the Virgin of Guadalupe and the Divine Feminine, and how that all fits together. and what it means. And it's part of what the goal and vision of this center is to be a place where there's a bridge built between the communities of English-speaking people and Spanish-speaking people, and a increased acceptance and unity, as opposed to a sense of division, which has been sometimes characteristic of this relationship. Please give a warm applause for Rebecca Pina.
Gracias, gracias. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, everyone. And you have no idea how happy I am to have moved to this area of my country. It was something that I have dreamed always of coming here. And to be here in this particular place that means so much to me is really wonderful. And thank you for allowing me to be part of this. I really love this community. I love each and every one of you, and you're now my close family. Thank you. Well, the divine energy, the female, the goddess, that we talk so much about the energy of the divine feminine, and still we wonder what it is. So let's just first talk a little bit about what is that divine feminine. So I want to talk to you about two things today. One is, in reality, it's only one, but two things related: the divine feminine and the Virgin of Guadalupe, the symbol of Mexico. So we're going to see a bit first, what is that divine energy? What is that divine feminine that is within every one of us? Because we know that we all contain both energies, and the Creator is the sum of those two energies in the creation. So, what is basically is an archetype expressed as symbols, expressed as deities, expressed as inspiration, as desire, as everything that has a soul. And that's exactly where Ernest Holmes places this beautiful feminine energy in the soul, the creative. If you remember the creative process, we find that the creative medium, the receptive and creative medium, is the soul. But here it is represented in most traditions, is represented as both male and female. But we don't find that in the Judeo-Christian tradition. So let's dig a bit to see what happened and what it is. We find it in all religions. We have goddesses, but not in the Judeo-Christian. What happened? Well, through this domination of these beliefs, I think that it's most of one of the reasons why the society in general became so paternalistic, so patriarchal, so dominant, the masculine side. But it is not if we want to progress spiritually, we have to develop, nurture, mostly nurture, and develop that energy within all of us, that spark of creation, that spark of inspiration. And at the end, we will see, might as well see that now, 5 steps that we can take to increase that energy, female beauty, feminine, divine energy within us. And the 5 steps, which I took from Sophie Bashford, are very, she details them, but you know all about each and every one of them is really a reminder for you. So the first step is to allow yourself to feel your feelings. And I'm so proud that in this center, that is allowed through conversation, through dialogue, through different small groups. Thank you. Because it's very needed to develop that feminine energy divine within us. Number 2 is to honor our intuitive impulses. We hear it, but we don't follow it. So if we have an intuitive impulse, we need to follow it. We need to pay attention to our intuition. And to do that, you need the next 3 steps. The third, which is wonderful, is to create ritual in your life. Even the fact of making your cup of tea or cup of coffee can become a ritual with a sacred intention of doing so. You can create rituals and beauty and magical moments in your life, all as a result of the feminine energy. Another one that we forget, number 4, is to take care of this one, the body temple. Connect with the body wisdom through yoga, tai chi, movement, meditation. I don't know how, but we have to connect with our body. And number 5, and to me the most important, to practice the stillness. The stillness, to honor that inner voice, to feel a reverence for life, which is so easy to do in a beautiful place like this. And everywhere, God is everywhere present, and if we are present, we will see it, feel it, and develop that feminine energy. So now we are going to see the video, magnificent video, the 7 minutes about the Virgin of Guadalupe, and then I'm going to explain to you. Actually, I'm going to explain it right now, and the order in whichever you see it really won't matter. So to avoid making 2 recordings, here it is, my explanation of the story of the Virgin in Apresi. Okay, let's see. What you can see here is the magnificent Basilica de Guadalupe, the modern one. This is a beautiful, beautiful place of inspiration. And it, as you will see, here is the story of how this was created. And it was created in honor of the Mother of the Americas, the Mother of Mexico. That feminine aspect of God that was missing in the Judeo-Christian, the devotion to the Virgin made it more complete. So here we go. Her miracles, as we know, cross all borders. Because her devotion is all over the world, her miracles happen everywhere. And we know that a miracle happens out of belief. We remember what the Master Jesus said, that it is done to you as you believe. And she has done more to increase the belief and the faith of the innocent and poor and simple people of the world, as well as the aristocrats. So here we go. It goes through all continents. And this was created in 1931 in the Tepeyac Hill. If you go to Mexico City, it's in the north of the city. The metro will leave you right there in front. It's the fastest and safest way to travel. I consider it, or any taxi, you don't even have to give directions. Everyone knows where is the Basilica of Guadalupe. So don't miss it. It's a wonderful uh, I will say show to see everything that happens there. And very moving. It's the atmosphere, everything that happens is so sacred because of the intention of all the visitors. So, how this got built was thanks to one of the apparitions of the Virgin. The Virgin appeared to Juan Diego, and notice that this is the first apparition of the Mary of Jesus in the world. As a parenthesis, Mary was not really recognized by the early church and became a bit more, her devotion was promoted on the 7th, 8th century, I believe, and that's where the devotion to this feminine aspect of God represented as the mother, the warrior too, of the poor, and all the symbols of a goddess was upon her. So she appeared to this poor Mexican, here we go, and told him that she wanted the construction of a temple in that precise place. Interesting enough, that was a hill where Mother Goddess Tonantzin of the local ones was worshipped. So it's a coincidence, or we don't know. But she very obediently, he goes to the bishop and couldn't convince him, as we saw in the video in detail. And one of the things that they wanted was miracles, okay, to convince us, let us see something that will let us know that is not of this earth. So first, she healed Juan Diego's uncle, who was very, very ill. And then the second miracle was, here is healing the uncle. The second miracle is that she produced beautiful flowers in a region with only cactus in December, and not really roses grow there. So, in the dead winter, she managed to produce beautiful flowers. We know that she helped her put them on her talmo or ayate made with jute, a fiber of the cactus that produces tequila. So Mexican for sure. Okay, and then the third miracle, the picture that started to develop as the roses fell, and that has lasted so far over 500 years without damage, without touching up. And one of the articles recognized as the scientist as a kerotipas. An akerotipa is something that scientists haven't been able to prove was made by human hand. Oh, the painting, everything has been, as you will see it, has remained intact with the same colors. It's a very interesting details there. These are the miracles. So one of the interesting details of this, and I have been witness of it through my childhood. My mother was very devout of the Virgin. She promised to call me Guadalupe, only my father disobeyed and called me Rebecca. Thank you, Father. Okay, no, I like them both. Okay, so something interesting to see is that these people come, some of them walking, and end up the journey on their knees, but they come walking for miles and miles from one town or two away. And the people all around know about these pilgrims. And all the month of December, they prepare food and water and allow them to go into their homes and to do whatever is needed and in their way. And they ask them to please beg Mother Guadalupe for them. So it's very moving to see the faith of these people is moving honestly. And we see the whole country, but of course Mexico City with the basilica the most, but the ornaments, we can see them here, the bells called to the novenario, doubling the bell, singing, redoubling, right? And then we have here the as you saw in the film, a mestiza, half half native, half Spanish, like most Mexicans, a mestiza, which is the symbol of the both races embracing each other and being one. Some of they dress up to go and see the Virgin too. Okay. And her very day after the Mañanitas, millions of people come. Actually, about 6 million the week of December 12th. Unfortunately, this year will be closed, and people will have to be like us via Zoom. But I'm sure that many of the prayers will be for her return. Okay, so that's the explanation. This is the video that you will see in a clearer form. And thank you all for listening.
It was the days of the exploration of the New World, when European countries like Spain, Portugal, and England sent expeditions to explore, evangelize, and settle new continents. But many explorers were not faithful to their Catholic faith, even though they brought devout clergy with them. It was now about 10 years after Cortes defeated the Aztecs in what is now the country of Mexico. It was hard for the Spaniards to forget how the Aztec Indians worshipped many gods to whom they would offer human sacrifices, often killing 50,000 people a year. The Spaniards, who were Catholic, were naturally disturbed and disgusted by this. There was great distrust on both sides, and life in these new colonies was difficult and dangerous. On December 9th, 1531, in Mexico, Our Lady appeared to Juan Diego, a poor, humble Aztec Indian who had converted to the Catholic faith. She asked him to go to the bishop and tell him to build a church where, she said, I will show and offer all of my love, my compassion, my help, and my protection to my people. Juan Diego did as she asked and went to the bishop. The bishop was a truly holy man, and although he was inclined to believe Juan, he cautiously asked for a sign that this message was really from Our Lady. Juan was worried about his uncle, whom he lived with, who was very ill. He felt he could not abandon his uncle in need and go off hunting for miracles. However, his uncle's condition became worse, and fearing he would soon die, Juan set off on the night of December 12th to find a priest. As he trotted along the road, Our Lady appeared and called to him. Immediately Juan came to her, his heart full of worry for his uncle, and shame that he had not tried to see Our Lady's request was fulfilled. Do not be distressed, my littlest son. Am I not here with you, who am your mother? Are you not under my shadow and protection? Your uncle will not die at this time. There is no reason for you to engage a priest, for his health is restored at this moment. He is quite well. Go to the top of the hill and cut the flowers that are growing there. Bring them then to me. It was a miracle that the roses were there and in bloom, because there was frost on the ground, and that area was an infertile place where only cactus and thistles grew. After he gathered them, she helped arrange them in his tilma, or poncho, and told him to show them to the bishop. When Juan brought them to the bishop was amazed at the roses, but was even more amazed at what began to happen to Juan Diego's tilma. Right before their very eyes, the image of Our Lady began to form on the cloth. The picture of Mary was beautiful, and the bishop and the other men in his office fell to their knees. Because of this, a beautiful basilica was built to fulfill her request. Juan Diego's tilma, which is made of poor cactus fiber, has a working life of about 15 years, yet is still intact and beautiful today. The colors of the image have not faded, and the cloth has not deteriorated. It has been on display in the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe for nearly 500 years. The image of Our Lady on the tilma was very significant to the Aztec Indians. God had dressed her in such a way that they would immediately understand who she was. She was dressed in royal clothes that showed she was as important as a queen. The color of her skin identifies her as a mestiza, a mixed blood of white Spanish and dark native, presenting herself as the link between the two races as their mother. With the sun at her back and the moon at her feet, the Spaniards recognized her as the woman of the apocalypse, while the native peoples saw her as having power over the bloodthirsty Aztec sun and moon god. She also had the symbol of the cross at her neck, which was the same symbol the Spaniards had on their ships and in the churches they built. She had a black sash tied around her waist, which meant that she was with child, for this was the way the Aztec women dressed when they were pregnant. And on her beautiful dress were all sorts of flowers and designs, but there was one flower on her dress that was most significant. It had only 4 petals. To the Aztecs, the 4-petal flower was the symbol for the true God, the God above all gods. This flower was located on her abdomen, right over the place where Jesus was growing inside of her. The Aztecs immediately understood that this was the mother of the true God. The stars on her green cloak were the exact position of the constellations in the sky on the night of her appearance. And she stood on the crescent moon, trampling the symbol of their feathered god Quetzalcoatl, showing her supreme power and might. The abundant graces Our Lady brought helped the Indians to embrace Christianity, and it helped the Spaniards to treat the Indians with respect as they should have, as children of God. Over the next 7 years, 8 million Indians converted to the Catholic faith. This was 10 times as many people as left the faith during the Protestant revolt under Calvin and Luther going on in Europe at that time. This was the biggest conversion in the history of the Church. This is why Our Lady of Guadalupe is the patroness of the Americas. Juan Diego, the humble man to whom she appeared, was canonized in the summer of 2002. His feast day is December 9th. Mary's appearance put an end to the worship of stone gods and the ritual of human sacrifice in Mexico. Our Lady of Guadalupe is also called the patroness of the unborn, because it is the first apparition where she appeared pregnant.
The Virgin of Guadalupe is, everybody in Mexico has the joke that we can be Christians, fundamentalists, Buddhists, we can be whatever, but we are all Guadalupians because we all love that symbol of the mother, the symbol of the mother protecting. It's a beautiful at the entrance of the Basilica, which we will see very soon. At the entrance of the Basilica of Guadalupe, there's a beautiful saying in which the Virgin tells to Juan Diego, the Indian, tells her, don't worry, don't you know that I am here, that I am your mother? And we have to notice a few things about the Virgin of Guadalupe that perhaps you have not noticed before. But it is the presence, the much needed presence, female presence in the Christian world. And it's revered in Mexico, as Tim said right from the beginning, right from December, the 8th of December, is it the 8th or the 9th? The 8th of December is the conception. The conception of Mary, because once Mary was recognized by the clergy in the 1800s, she began to be allowed to be devotion. You cannot say worship. It's devotion to the Virgin. And with that, the church opened a possibility for so many others. Imagine the Mexicans here just lost their country, their customs, their own gods, and all of a sudden they have to accept a new religion that they didn't understand. They needed to accept a God that they did not know and could not understand. But when they saw the Virgin of Guadalupe, when after the appearance of the Virgin of Guadalupe, as you will see, 8 million people in the continent converted to the religion, because now they had a mother. And there's quite a few interesting things about that. But what I wanted to talk about, emphasize the perspective of the goddess, the perspective of the divine feminine, is because of the need we all have for that presence, for that energy. So the Basilica, the one that we see in this picture, the beautiful one, is a newer one. In the film, you saw the original, which now is sinking. If you go there, it's been sinking, and that's the reason, one of the reasons they built the other one. And another interesting thing is that the Virgin of Guadalupe appeared in the Tepeyac, a hill. The Tepeyac hill, which is interesting because the goddess Tonantzin, the goddess of Mother Earth, for the Aztecs, had a place of worship there. And I think that it was really coincidence or a very intelligent move to put a place of a Catholic Virgin in the place where the goddess of the Mother Goddess was. So a mestiza woman is the one that appears as Guadalupe. It's like me, part Spanish, part Indian, native. So she's Spanish, it's half mestiza. And it has beautiful symbols of a symbol of the crossing and the unity of both races. And but also the Virgin that appears there, you notice she's stepping on the half moon. Now, for the metaphysical people, which we are, what is the half moon? The half moon is a symbol of the subconscious mind. And to step on the subconscious mind, like she does, over the moon, is she's stepping on the serpent and the subconscious mind. And the picture that's the description, along with the stars and everything, of the book of Revelation, of Apocalypse. So, but that just about concludes the talk. The fact that the feminine presence is important, or feminine side is important. It is the way that we do improve or cultivate our inner soul is through meditation. What else do we do? We do all the practices like listening, the mother listens. We also need to remember to do sacred things in our life, to create sacred space, sacred silence in our lives. All that is part of what the goddess does, the creation. So with that in mind, I invite you to think of your female, your feminine, be you woman or man, think about your feminine, the divine feminine, and connect with it. It's your intuition, it's the voice of God within you. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rebecca. Wow, that was amazing. So,
Yeah, one step back.
I have announcements for you. So glad to be with you today, spiritual family. Our New Year's Eve burning bowl is still being considered, and so stay tuned. We will keep you posted on that event. Our next Sunday service will be January 3rd at 4 p.m. At this time, it's going to be on Zoom, and if we can do it live, we will let you know. And if you'd like to receive our newsletter, please go to the website at cslchapala.com and sign up. And we're happy to announce that our prayer circle is thriving. And if you would like a prayer request, please go to cslchapala.com and put your request in, and we will be glad to pray for you. And next month, January 15th, a Friday morning, for 4 weeks, 10:30 to noon, I will be teaching a spiritual mind treatment class on prayer. So if you really want to connect with Spirit at a deeper level and really learn to pray for others and for all of humanity, please look at our newsletter. We will keep you posted and keep reminding you, but I look forward to being with you in January for 4 weeks for this lovely class. I'm excited to say the website is being updated. We meet again tomorrow, and we're looking for volunteers that want to write articles. For example, to write about the Virgin of Guadalupe would have been nice before this event happened, but when we figure out what next month's event is, maybe an article about that, or a proofreader. So we are open to any ideas for volunteering. Please reach out to me. I'm Deborah Reeves, and you can reach me at my email, which will be in the upcoming newsletters also. And excited to say we're going to be having a grief and loss group. I think this is perfect timing. I am looking forward to it. Whether you have a loss in your life or not, I want to take this course because I want to learn more how to speak to people that are grieving and have had huge losses. So more will be revealed. We will keep you updated. Thank you. So now it's time for our offertory. So please join me in prayer. Divine love, flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And now join me in prayer. Oh, Mother God, thank you for this abundance, the gifts you provide each day in every way. Nourish each one of us, and thank you for the gifts that are present right here, right now, in this community, in the volunteers, in this abundance, in this beautiful bowl of divine love. And I know that this goes out multiplied to our community and makes a difference in this world. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mother God.
So now we're going to have a period of discussion. It's called dessert. Usually, when we have this with everybody here, we not only have dessert, but we have a dinner. And everybody brings their many loaves and fishes, and we have a great time, and that will soon begin again. How soon, we will see.